All right, we're on to Andor. Ricky, I'm ready to say this is the best TV series. I'm already, after 6 episodes, ready to say this is the best TV series Star Wars has put forth, taking into account the Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is the best series they've done so far. It's incredibly well written. We've been building up for 2 episodes to this heist, and God, did it live up to the hype? What were your instant reactions, to this new episode of Andor?
So I saw your tweet, and I read your blog. Great blog. Check out thedriveinpod.com.
Thank you. I've been on one.
Yeah, you've been blogging a lot. This was a great episode. Fantastic, right? But for you to jump to conclusions, say that
let's do this,
is absolutely asinine, and I'm going to tell you why. And I think I'm hot. This episode's already like running decently long because of we already talked about She-Hulk. And I literally ended She-Hulk right before this, like 5 minutes before this. So that was like literally my instant.
Are we about to scream at each other again, dude?
This was fantastic. This is definitely like the best flowing series, Star Wars series, by far. Every episode matters. Even the slow episodes make sense and are good. Mandalorian, it's like they have throwaway episodes, adventures, side adventures, like a video game, stuff like that. Big criticism for me with the Mandalorian and reliance on Star Wars. But at the end of the day, the Mandalorian iconic moments are just so supreme. And the Star Wars moments, the connectivity Star Wars, the iconic moments with that, I am not near, after 6 episodes, ready to say, oh, Andor, you have the trophy. No. How many? We have like 4 more episodes?
6. It's 12 episode seasons.
Yeah. And then that's only season 1. Don't forget, the season 2 of Mandalorian was incredible. So, hey, this is going great. This might be the best written and overall show. Better.
It is the best
quality.
Written, bro.
In quality, this might be better. But to say that it's the best like Star Wars show, I just think is like so early and preposterous to say.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Like, when you said that, were you taking it as in quality, or were you like, no, I enjoy this more than The Mandalorian?
No, whoa. 2 different things.
Okay. I just need to
2 different things. Time out. Okay. First of all, if I was approaching someone who is not interested in Star Wars, I would still tell them to watch Andor. Andor is what were you gonna say? Seemed like
I was gonna say, I think people that don't like Star Wars, this is perfect for them.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I would say, like
give it to them
the opposite.
So the thing about this show, Boba Fett relies on the Mandalorian appearances. Season 1 of the Mandalorian, people are like, okay, it feels a little bit more like Star Trek with these one-off adventures, almost low stakes, and it's like episode to episode. You have Moff Gideon there, but he just doesn't really come into full form until season 2. Then season 2 of the Mandalorian, right? Luke Skywalker obviously makes an appearance. Ahsoka Tano obviously makes an appearance. Then Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're relying on the previous relationship with the prequel trilogy with Obi-Wan and Anakin. This has no cameos so far. This has no cameos that are really relevant to the Skywalker saga. There is no gimmicks. There is no aliens. They focus on a war genre type of filmmaking with insane character development that has you invested even only after 6 episodes. And we do have to address, even though this was 6 episodes, it's clearly organized by 3, right? The first 3 episodes, you even said yourself, they felt like 1 episode because it was talking about basically the origins of this thief named Cassian Andor, right? And you have Luthen at the end acquiring him as an asset for the Rebel Alliance. When he acquires him, he's all in it for the money, right? He goes through this stage. He's getting to know, right, the actual rebels, right, the grassroots operation. And I can't wait for the next 3 episodes. This series, I think I'm most impressed with a lot of the character development. Like, Cassian is incredible. Like I did an MVP. I did like a 3 stars in the night. The same thing in the blog. The same thing we did for House of the Dragon. Cassian is number 1, but this show also has stakes to it. People are dying. People are going to bite the dust doing what they believe in. Okay? I am invested just like these characters are invested in the Rebel Alliance. And to have that build up for the last 2 episodes, right? This 3-episode arc that we went on, and to have that explosion after that slow build from 4 and 5, it was so well done. Production design off the charts. That escape off the charts. The tension in this episode, I felt nothing like that in the history of Star Wars. When is the last time? Maybe when Luke Skywalker is kind of like end of like Mandalorian season 2, when he's like, you're just a build up to this knowing that you're going to see Luke Skywalker. Is it really true? But it doesn't have to rely on that. You don't have to rely on Jedis. It's like, are they actually going to pull off this heist? Because you don't know if it's going to happen or not.
I disagree.
You don't. You really?
Yeah.
The Rebel Alliance? You don't think like something's going to go wrong? They
said that if this didn't work, then it's over. They said that. Skarsgård and Mom.
Okay. It's okay. You're doing it that way. Okay.
Sorry. I had to.
That's like very face value of it. But like, even if you knew that, what we end up with when this space crater is finally parked, you have 2 people alive. You have twists and turns with characters you didn't see coming. Like, I felt terrible. We lost Nemec, bro. We lost Nemec. I was hoping Nemec, once he gets crushed on that ship, like we're gonna get like a little Professor
Dude,
X
I was
action.
thinking the same thing.
I'm like, like
get a wheelchair.
Like you're all Disney. Can we just go multiverse of madness, Professor X, yellow chair? Can we just slide that over a studio or 2 and give it to Nemec? You know? But his death is so impactful because that is what's going to bring Cassian Andor into the actual Rebel Alliance now. Yes, he's leaving, but this is like the details of the show, and the writing is so goddamn good, Ricky Flex. They're like, even before they go, they're talking about, okay, Cassian Andor, you slept like a stone. Nemec can't sleep at all. He's like, I couldn't sleep. Guess what? I wrote about you. Okay. What happens at the end of the episode? Nemec dies. Vel says he insists that you have this. He hands it to him. Beginning of next episode, he's going to go probably back to his homeland. I forgot whatever planet that is. He's going to open that manifesto, and he's going to see what's written about him and how he is the person they need to win, right, this overthrow of government, right? It's like what Vladimir Lenin read when Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto.
Steady.
It's what he read. And he's like, I got to do this. I got to join this. I got to be a part of this because I could be a leader here after being in the shadows for so long within the Empire. You know? I just think it's off the charts, bro. It's off the charts. The writing, the episode 3, I wrote my blog. I'll let you talk in a sec. I know I'm going on a rant right now. They harken back to, I think it's episode 4. I don't really remember. But it's like the group with Skeen, Vel, and everybody, Cinta, Terriman. They're talking about how much they hate the Empire. And Cassian Andor says they feel so fat and satisfied. And that might have been with Luthen in episode 3. Now I'm thinking about it. And then what is the opening scene here? You got the dude from the Imperial base.
Gladiator,
right?
Dude.
He's trying. Yes, he is. Is he the same guy?
It looks exactly the same.
It looks exactly like him. But he tries to put on the belt and he's too fat. I'm like, that's an obvious harken back to the quote. And it just looks spectacular. It sounded spectacular. This show is sick. This show is sick. And it's better writing than anything Star Wars has ever done. They take their time.
Win the crowd. Yeah, I agree. I agree on that level. I agree. No, all I'm trying to say is I'll even say Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, just different breed. It's just.
But you rely on those moments
instead
of this show is different.
No. Again, I agree with literally everything you said. I agree with. I just think that at the end of the day, similar to She-Hulk, it comes down to, why are we fans of this? It's because it's like a cult. All right, it's comic books. It's a franchise.
Should we write a manifesto, bro?
And Yes, we love it when we separate things, right? And Andor, this is looking like it's going to be something special, right? It's looking like
So
that.
good.
And I'm not going to, this is how good it looks. Let's say there isn't anything that relates to Star Wars that much at all, like actual, like, very Star Warsy aliens and Jedi's and things. Let's just say it's amazing and just being a crime drama, spy crime drama. I'm not going to count out that it will be the best television show that Disney Plus has produced. And that's saying a lot. But my fandom
I agree.
comes in and it's like, okay, what they did with Darth Vader and how they used the Force and special effects, lifting up the rocks, the actual fight sequences, the choreography, like that's phenomenal. That was. And Obi-Wan didn't work as a whole, but what did work was, you know what? Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. That worked. I mean, that's all we were watching for, right? That's the only thing we were
Star
watching
Wars
for.
understands their own characters, and they do understand their audience. This
Right.
is just a different approach.
Yes. So all I'm trying to say is at the end of the day, I love, like, we talk about this all the time. Werewolf by Night, we just did. So I'm not trying to like be repetitive, but we love differentiation. We love these special projects.
Except
But
She-Hulk.
clearly. But it's just like, hey, like, yeah, Darth Vader was sick. Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian.
Oh,
That's
dude, I'm not saying
Thank
it's
you.
bad. I'm just saying everything like that. There is a reliance during those
Yeah.
shows on those
I just
moments
think,
that you
yeah.
don't have here. Imagine if, like, somehow, like, Saw Gerrera's coming. It's probably the biggest name is going to be here when Mon Mothma also ascends to like the status that she has, like going into right A New Hope. This show also, it takes the broad strokes. I think I talked about this in my blog too. It takes just the broad strokes, the less obvious story, okay, of the Skywalker saga. Like Obi-Wan, like, oh my God, fans are begging for this. Boba Fett, people are like, oh my God, coolest character in Star Wars. Mandalorian, the guy who looks like Boba Fett, let's make a show about him, right? And we'll have like these amazing Jedis like cameo. Here it's like they're just saying, we're going to introduce all new characters. You're going to care about them. And even if it doesn't have the moments with those characters, you're going to be buying every second of it.
Yeah, and
You're
then
going to be
Game of
buying every
Thrones
second.
kill
And
him.
I am. They got me like, it's this and House of the Dragon for me right now. She-Hulk was never in the mix. Lord of the Rings, I haven't watched in 5 weeks.
Last 2 episodes. Well, 2 episodes.
What do you care more about right now? Do you care more about Andor
I think I should
or
make
Lord
a
of the Rings,
statement
Rings of
on
Power?
Rings of Power at some point. If it's not,
Yeah,
but right
go
now,
ahead,
I
'cause I
should
don't care
have.
about it.
2 episodes ago, I was just telling someone this. 2 episodes ago, episode 7, maybe the battle. If you've seen the show, Battle in the Southlands. You know what I'm talking about. That was an incredible episode. Incredible. The last episode, last Friday, wasn't incredible, but the ending was what we all wanted to see at the end. And it was like, oh my God, we're about to do this. So the ending was great. The episode's a whole not. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is underwhelmed for sure. But you know what? Like it's starting to hit its groove a little bit right now. And I like that. So I'm still committed, but again, underwhelming so far. $400-500 million budget, underwhelming. I still like the practical effects of the original series a lot better, but I'm giving it time to be at least better than like this because it's been underwhelming. That's my statement on Rings of Power. We can get back to this.
I'm going to watch Rings of Power after I'm done with the House of the Dragon and Andor. That's my commitment. Like, I've only watched the first 3.5 episodes of Rings of Power. I think that 3.5 mark, 3-4, like, is one that is pretty boring. And it feels like it's the opposite of hitting its groove.
And 5 is boring, I think, as well.
But the thing about like Andor, like Rings of Power, like very recognizable IP, just like Star Wars is. Okay. But do you care about the Galadriel? We have some familiarity with, obviously, in Rings of Power, or like Lord of the Rings, just a younger version, but it's not Cate Blanchett. Like, do you care about those characters like you do for the Andor series, who you've never heard of?
I do.
You do. Okay.
Halbrand is my guy.
Okay.
Halbrand, King of the Southlands, my guy. Galadriel, I like a lot. Numenor's not queen. I'm not as like just because of history so far with the show. But
So you are
her right
invested.
hand man, I forget his name, but he's my guy. If he dies, like I die. That's
So
my guy.
this is like I talked about the streaming equinox, like MCU, She-Hulk's gone now, right? So now I think it's a but viewership, like people I think we're tuning into. I know people are always tuning into Lord Rings of Power. I'm just
100
saying, like,
million subs or views
how does that compare to House of the Dragon though?
murders it.
There's
Yeah,
more viewers for Rings of
HBO
Power
Max.
than
So HBO
then why
Max.
does no one talk about it? Because it's older demographic?
So, okay, so HBO Max. I think every Sunday night they get over 10 million views, like right at the premiere.
Just premiere.
Right. So they probably get more throughout the week, obviously.
Yeah.
But to get over 100 million, think about how many people are in the US. Over 330 million. That's crazy. I honestly don't believe Amazon.
Well, I think Lord of the Rings has a lot of staying power internationally, though.
100 million. Oh yeah, international.
Like
Yeah,
that,
and
like
HBO
Rings
Max
of
isn't
Power
very.
is huge
Yeah.
internationally.
And I'm just thinking, just for that, I'm thinking just as a platform basis streaming service, HBO Max, not very international right now at all.
Because
They're
we
pretty
we live
domestic,
on
so
we
makes
live
sense.
on Twitter, right? Before this podcast, like you have to if you want to be a
Like
successful
we are.
podcast, which we are. So I'm just thinking, like I don't see conversation. Like I follow everything, whether it's the drive-in feed that I'm scrolling on the timeline or my personal feed. I see everything movies and TV, and I don't see the generated chatter about Rings of Power. I just don't see it.
Yeah,
You know,
Lord of the
I
Rings.
see it all the time with House
Game
of
of
the
Thrones
Dragon.
is just
It
different,
is
man.
suffocating in a great way,
It's a
though.
different breed of just like it gathers your
I
attention so much more than like a Lord of the Rings, and like again, like even just with the show, it's like it's the politics within the show. It's something to talk about. Again, I talk about the water cooler. Like when you go, like imagine pre-pandemic, everyone's going to the office. What are you talking about at the water cooler? Oh, you watch House of the Dragon Sunday night. Like you're doing that on Twitter
it's
now.
so easy to talk about.
Yeah.
Like it's
You're not
like,
doing
did you
that
see
on
the?
a Friday night.
But it's so easy compared to like Rings of Power. Like you could say like maybe if a big battle happened, did you see that battle? But like Rings of Power, you could say, did you see where Damon chopped Damon's head off? You know, it's just such quick, like, oh my God, that moment, that moment, that moment. In the Rings of Power, it seems like it's very much like it's a very, I think, steady pace, I would say, for the first 3.5 episodes I saw. I don't know if it's continued that pace. I would assume so, but it still has like those major moments. I just that's why I was just curious because I think it's a natural comparison now because it feels like House of the Dragon and then it's everybody else. But I think Andor, what it's a shame, it's that it because it doesn't have the recognizable characters, it's a spinoff of Rogue One, not even like a main like episode number in the Skywalker saga. People don't really care about it, but like I was hoping like I write this blog, people are gonna be like, okay, this is sick because a lot of the aspects are better than Mandalorian. Mandalorian has its own like Western vibe for a lot of it, right? But then it has the cameos and gimmicks that like it seems Andor is like persistent that they're not going to resort to. And that's why I respect it. Because I already know a bunch about like the Skywalker saga. I don't need that. And I think it's great for conversation for us, you know? But I just thought it
Yeah,
was spectacular.
so I agree. I just have to bring something up just because of what you just said there. So Johnny Sin's a future guest on the pod. He is a star. Like when you always say aficionado for me. Like most of the time, like you're right, but like Star Wars, like I am more than the average Star Wars fan for
Yeah.
sure, and I know more. But like Johnny Sins, he is an aficionado.
For which?
Okay, Star Wars, like he knows everything about the galaxy, far
Is he
far
right
away.
next to you?
He's in the other room.
Can we get his take on Andor?
That's what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
He's not watching Andor.
Bring him on and ask why.
He's not
Yeah. I just want to know why.
like bring him on the pod.
Yeah. But give him the headphones. I'm going to ask him why you're not watching Andor.
Okay, give me 1 second then. All right, he'll give his like quick reaction here. 1 sec.
This is recording.
Yeah.
All right. So Johnny Sims has joined the pod. Congratulations on your first ever drive-in appearance.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
So I had Ricky Flicks drag you in because he says you are a self-proclaimed Star Wars aficionado. Is that correct?
I am.
So
I'd say I'm a hardcore fan, not quite the aficionado level, but a hardcore fan.
Okay. So if you're a hardcore fan, I just have one question.
Mhm.
Have you watched Andor?
I have not. I'm not watching it out of protest.
Oh, interesting. I did not see this coming. I thought it was just a matter of maybe there's a lack of intrigue, but it seemed like Andor is kind of like Star Wars porn, where it's like it's Rebel Alliance, right? We're filling in the blanks a little bit. Prequel to Rogue One. It's only for the hardcore guys. But what's your protest?
So for me, it's like if we look at, say, Marvel, how many spin-off shows they're getting. Star Wars is kind of heading in that direction where we're getting spin-offs of spin-offs now, right? Like Rogue One, we didn't necessarily ask for it, though it was an excellent movie. I feel like we got all we needed out of that story. Like Cassian Andor, if we never saw him again, that would have been totally fine by me. So when I heard that he was getting a spin-off, I was just like, I don't want to support that. I don't want us to keep getting spin-offs of spin-offs and the whole universe just gets bogged down. I'd rather them focus resources and time on making shows exploring like new stories and new characters.
So from what I understand, you are launching your own rebellion.
Yes, that's certainly one way to put it. I'd say that's accurate. Yes.
Because I mean, I agree with you that Andor is not exactly this juicy character that Star Wars fans are clamoring to see.
Right.
But I think it's also the surrounding characters that are introduced in the show. I think you might dig. There's some great acting going on too, and it fills in a lot of like the holes. Like you don't have things that are like written down in terms of like within the storytelling of Star Wars, why the rebellion happens, how people are like specifically impacted. This show kind of covers that. So if you ever want to end your rebellion, I'm not going to tell you to do so because like you do your thing.
Right.
I would highly recommend Andor because it's better, in my opinion. Anything we got from Book of Boba Fett. Did you watch that one?
Wow.
Did you also protest that one?
I did. Well, you know, I'm a bit of a hypocrite in that sense, I guess, since I watched that.
I was like, oh my God, if you watch Book of Boba Fett, you have to watch Andor. Like, you can't support Book of Boba Fett, but also, I think, in my opinion, like, there are a lot of aspects that are better than The Mandalorian.
Oh, wow.
There's no cameos. There's no gimmicks. It's literally new characters introduced.
Yeah.
And it's all about the rebellion, right? Inside, outside, grassroots, the whole thing. I think you would like it. I'm not going to force you to do anything, though.
You know, I have heard good things, and I do highly value your opinion on all things cinema and television, Doc. So I'll at least consider it.
Well, Donnie Sims, I appreciate you joining the pod. This is a great intro. I can't wait to have you on again.
I can't wait to come back.
All right. Thanks, John.
Take care, Doc. Humble as always.
Flicks, did you hear? Obviously, you're right next to him during that time at a protest. I kind of respect this. He launched his own rebellion against Disney.
I'm angry at myself even more as She-Hulk. I'm not as strong as Johnny Sins here. It's a bad look for me with She-Hulk. I couldn't succumb to Daredevil.
Before we launch the end of this podcast, not launch, but before we just like
before we end
out. Launch. I'll be launching myself after this.
I
will say, Ricky, we have to talk about Cousin.
Oh man.
Cousin makes the betrayal at the end. It's revealed that he has made up the story about his brother, right? And how the Empire forced him into suicide after stealing his pepper tree field. We now figure out at the end after they steal 80 credits, 800,000 credits. What was the number?
80 million.
80. Oh my God. I know. I get
it's a quarterly payroll.
Yeah. So 80 million. What did I say? 80,000. But they also didn't collect the entire thing. But he said 80 million. And he wanted to split it two ways with Cassian because Cassian is known as a thief. I just want to get your reaction. Like, personally, I was just like, this is yet another twist. This is something like, okay, maybe we didn't see it coming. There's some irony because he's the one that's questioning Andor, holding a knife to his neck when he finds the piece of jewelry that Luthen gives Andor. Just what were your reactions to Cousin pulling a sneaky one on us?
Mm-hmm. Two things. One, I thought he was doing double agent vibes where he was faking like, hey, let's do this just to see if Cassian would take the bait and then report it back to Vel and say, oh, this guy was going to take all of our money or whatever.
Ooh,
That's what I thought it was.
I don't hate that. That's crazy. I can't believe you thought that off the bat.
I literally was like, oh my God, Cassian, like, this is where you prove, like, are you going to be this guy or join the road? And that's what I thought. I thought that scene was going to be that.
That is pretty good, Ricky. What if that was the case? That would have been like Gilroy. Like, I know you're doing a great job, but like if you put that in there, holy cannoli.
Hey, I'm open to add to the writer's room.
It's sad that we lose Eben Moss Backrack, but I listened to an interview and we talk about like less connections and gimmicks. Did you see what I put in there? Did you hear about the note?
Yeah.
Well, so the blaster that Skeen has actually gets passed on to some point by Greedo, which is the iconic moment of episode 4 of Who Shot First between him and Han Solo. So that's like Star Wars being Star Wars, how they build it into the lore and everything. I still think Skeen was on the same page as everybody for the most part. He was the one telling Nemec, like, okay, we have to get this guy to a doctor. We wouldn't have gotten this far without him. He seemed still a little bit selfless at some point in that episode. However, I think it's when he saw the 80 million credits in front of him where he's just like, I'm set. I don't have to do anything.
And there's only 3 of us left.
But it's like greed taking over. But the fact that Cassian shot him, I think says a lot about his character, saying like this guy, like, because Cassian, his reputation, he's the least trusted out of the group.
He has integrity.
He has integrity, but he's also a thief, you know? So it's like he didn't do that. And he's handed this manifesto at the end. Can't wait for the next 3 episodes. I think it leans right in. But I thought we were going to get more Skeen, bro. Thought we were going to get more.
Yeah, he's an honorable thief, Cassian. Yeah, no, I thought that it was interesting. And I think my second point was going to be, I think this is like my final point where this is why the show's so good. And that scene really, the results of that showcase why this is different than not just Star Wars, but from franchise series or movies, because it went Game of Thrones, House of Cards on us, where there were stakes, people died on the way out, right? But also there were twists, but the twists weren't so easily seen, and they were all they were unexpected. And on top of that, yeah, you could have predicted that, I guess, if you're a genius, but let's just say you are. But then Cassian kills him, and then still leaves, leaving that door open, and still not with the rebellion, and still only halfway through the season, 6 episodes out of 12. I think that's where it comes in, where there's just so many mind level things going on that makes this just so much different than anything franchise worthy, like a Fast and Furious, like a Star Wars, a normal Star Wars, like a Marvel, especially Marvel. That just makes it different. And that's why I appreciate the show. Going to back what you said, the link back up to the beginning of this conversation. Yes, this is the best quality show Star Wars has ever done. And it's because, hey, you have Tony Gilroy at the helm. Yes, he did Rogue One, but not really much of a Star Wars connection. And this is just focusing on being a great show. And this is what that is. I'm ready to say it. This is prestige TV.
Oh, it has been.
But
it has been.
No. But what I'm trying to say is that, was Boba Fett prestige TV? No. Was Obi-Wan Kenobi a prestige TV? No. That's what I'm trying to say. Disney Plus doesn't do prestige TV. This is.
Mandalorian might have been season 2.
Yeah, well, Mandalorian, I think,
just because it reaches that
heights.
echelon.
The heights are just different with that show. That's why it's and Darth Vader's, and Obi-Wan is. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like the quality. It's the quality. That's all right. Just take out Star Wars. Just Disney Plus shows. Like compare this to an HBO show, or like this to like. I'm just saying, like
the prestige fits.
You fit this within what you think of prestige TV and Emmys. You think like, oh, I could see this winning Emmys at some point. Like, yeah, it's only been 6 episodes, and there's already over half the cast is dead already. So it's like, all right, well, where's it gonna win Emmys? We're only halfway through the season, and we only have one character left, really. So it's like, okay, where? But that's all I'm trying to drive at here is that this is different, and I agree with your point, but definitely it's only halfway through. Only halfway through. Let's see the rest. I trust Tony Gilroy. I don't really have any nerves with it, but again, like, hey, I'm not gonna write a blog saying that yet. But I'm glad somebody.
Hey, is that a shot? Is that a shot, bro?
I'm just. Hey, this has been a confrontational
every episode gets better. Every episode gets better.
True,
Why would I say the next episode, next three batch after aren't going to be better? You know,
it's. You know what I was thinking with this episode?
That heist scene was insanity. Like whether it's the visuals in the sky, the score going on, you got Nemec screaming up down with the star, like I don't know what he was, the Starfinder. And then he's going up and down. And then you have the Aldanis with like the revolution chant going. I'm like, holy shit. Like the revolution has started.
Another thing I also what I was thinking about is that I thought the same thing as you with like, oh, every episode's getting better. Another thing I'm nervous about, but like not really nervous again, Tony Gilroy. Like when you have someone like behind the scenes this good, writing and directing combination like that, you're not really nervous about it. But I think it's just a thought that I should throw out there is that well, this is like Game of Thrones where like you have an episode like 2 episodes before the finale or 1 episode before the finale that's just so good, but then the next episode you just can't live up to that until the season finale.
That's the next one.
So like the next 5 episodes, I feel like the next 5 are going to be letdowns to this.
No, just the next one maybe a letdown game.
No, like I'm not saying they're going to be bad episodes. I'm just think that we'll never live up to that again until like the season finale, and then it'll be like every 6 episodes we're gonna have great episodes going to season 2.
To me, it's hard to match the 3-episode arc here, where you had such slow pacing, but the awesome writing and character development that ends with this like explosive.
Well, I think the finale is gonna be better than this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I pray, you know,
and like I have no idea what it's gonna be, but
it's like 4 finales in one season because it's 12 episodes.
Feed it to me, love it. Feed it to me.
All right, so we got to cut it there. We've been going on way too long, but that's going to do it for our review of episode 6 of Andor. Don't worry, we got 6 more coming in the coming weeks. That's a month and a half. Thank God, taking us into Thanksgiving, into holiday time. Great to have Star Wars around. That's going to do it also for episode 158 of the Drive-In Podcast. I had to pull it up because I didn't remember. Make sure you're following us on our social channels at the Drive-In Pod on Twitter and Instagram primarily. Ricky Flex putting up some amazing graphics. Twitter, we got a bunch of news coming, and then we also just have some funny content going left and right. Make sure you're also subscribed to the YouTube. If you're watching right now, you might be watching our Andor reaction, or you're watching our She-Hulk reaction. Make sure that you toggle between both. Also, and hit that subscribe button. If you're following on the feed, wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you hit follow. Also, rate us 5 stars, leave a review. If you leave a review, we'll shout you out in the podcast. For Ricky Flux and Dr. O, until next time, we will smell ya.